Imagine the entire global economy trying to breathe through a straw. 20 million barrels of oil, millions of tons of liquid natural gas, all of it squeezed daily through a waterway just 21 miles wide. For centuries, the Persian Gulf was a regional hub, connecting Arab and Persian traders through a relatively quiet maritime network. But the discovery of vast petroleum reserves turned this ancient corridor into the planet's primary energy vault. The geopolitical geometry fractured in 1979. The Iranian Revolution ousted a Western-aligned monarchy, replacing it with a theocracy that viewed the massive flow of Western-bound oil off its coast as a severe vulnerability. The new government rapidly embedded a doctrine of anti-Western resistance directly into its military framework. The shoreline overlooking the water became heavily fortified, weaponizing the natural geography against the nations dependent on its exports. Because of that geography, the Strait of Hormuz mutated into a permanent, highly volatile standoff. The countries reliant on the passage cannot leave, and the state guarding the northern shore refuses to back down. This map illustrates the physical severity of the bottleneck. While the strait is 21 miles across, the water is too shallow for massive oil tankers near the coastlines. Deep draft vessels are forced into designated inbound and outbound traffic lanes that are each only 2 miles wide. Under the United States and broadly accepted international doctrine of transit passage, vessels have the right to continuous, unhindered movement through these lanes, free from the coastal state's interference. Iran counters this with the doctrine of innocent passage. Under their interpretation, they hold sovereign control over their territorial waters, granting them the authority to demand permission, inspect cargo, and block warships they deem threatening. Two opposing powers operate under completely different rulebooks, in a space where a single grounded ship halts a fifth of the world's energy. Every transit forces a test of sovereignty, keeping the waterway on a perpetual hair trigger. To enforce their territorial claims without a massive blue water navy, Iran employs anti-access area denial, often called A2AD. It is a strategy using cheap, asymmetrical weapons to make an area too dangerous for adversaries to enter, actively avoiding a costly conventional war. Instead of destroyers, they deploy hundreds of fast attack craft. These speedboats operate in swarms, deliberately harassing heavy, slow-moving commercial tankers and forcing military escorts to quickly make split-second decisions about lethal force. They layer this with smart mines planted on the seafloor and explosive drones launched from the coastline. These are highly deniable, low-cost weapons capable of crippling a multi-million-dollar vessel before the crew even knows they are under attack. The aggressor relies on precision. Actually sealing the strait would invite an overwhelming, immediate military response. The goal is simply to choke the passage enough to inflict financial pain and extract political leverage. When tensions spike and drones are in the air, shipping companies face a brutal calculation. How do you safely navigate billions of dollars of flammable cargo through an active threat zone?
The first option is active security. Regional and Western powers deploy massive naval assets, entire carrier strike groups, into the Gulf to deter harassment through sheer military intimidation. But escorting merchant vessels ship by ship is staggeringly expensive. Mixing heavy military hardware with civilian convoys in a 2-mile-wide lane creates a powder keg, where a single misread signal could ignite a state-on-state war. The alternative is silent rerouting. A tanker's captain will deliberately shut off the ship's automatic identification system, its location transponder, and attempt to navigate the strait completely dark, usually under the cover of night. Sailing dark strips away any legal protection. If attacked, the ship has no plausible deniability. Practically, steering a 100,000-ton vessel completely blindly through congested waters severely increases the risk of a catastrophic collision.
Shippers are left choosing between provoking a military escalation or flying blind into a maritime disaster. There is no safe passage, only calculated risk. The threat of violence does not stay confined to the water. A single drone strike or seized vessel instantly infects global financial markets through the mechanism of maritime insurance. This line graph shows baseline shipping costs. When underwriters in London declare the strait a high-risk zone, they apply war risk premiums. Almost overnight, the cost to insure a single voyage surges, sometimes adding $500,000 to a single tanker's operating expense. Shipping companies do not absorb that cost. They pass it down the supply chain. The added expense of navigating the strait causes immediate price shocks in energy markets, translating directly into inflation at the gas pump and the grocery store. You do not have to live near the Middle East to bear the economic weight of this conflict. Every consumer on Earth pays a hidden tax to compensate for the fragility of this specific bottleneck. Recognizing the immense danger, coastal nations have spent billions attempting a seemingly obvious solution, circumventing the 21-mile choke point entirely. Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates have constructed massive industrial pipelines designed to pump crude oil directly overland to terminals on the Red Sea and the Gulf of Oman, physically removing the transit from Iranian speedboats. Yet these bypass networks contain a fatal flaw. They provide a strategic cushion, but they only have the capacity to handle a fraction of the 20 million barrels required by the global market every single day. The vast majority of the oil still must brave the water. While governments can redirect some oil through steel pipes, they cannot reroute the human collateral. Tens of thousands of civilian seafarers, port workers, and offshore crews remain physically trapped in the crossfire, managing the supply chain under constant threat. The Strait of Hormuz represents a permanent condition of modern geography. There is no definitive victory or clean solution to be won here. As long as the global economy requires this oil to survive, humanity will remain locked in this equation of risk.